Hell yeah, we're gonna just milk all we can out of those two smells.
We
Got
can't.
about 20 seconds?
20 seconds?
Great.
More like 20 questions. 20 questions? More like 20 seconds. I don't need this ridiculous getup at a funeral. I'm wearing black. Because we're in mourning.
Live.
Man. Man. Can't believe Bob's dead. Well, processing a lot of feelings. At this funeral for Bob, my friend Bob. We're at Bob's funeral. I'm at Bob's funeral. A lot to process. Oh, hi there.
Hey, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Shame about Bob, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah.
I was buying some bread for Bob.
Yeah.
From you, Bob.
You were.
And I got the news. Bob's dead, and I remember at the bakery I yelled, "Bob's bread!"
Yeah. Bob's dead, and you
And then-
choked on Bob's bread.
I corrected myself after I choked and I said, earlier I yelled, "Bob's bread," because I was in a bakery and I just found out that my friend was dead.
Mm-hmm. And then the people in the bakery said, "Yes, this is where we are. Bob's bread. What of it?"
And then I said, no, what I meant was, Bob's dead. Bob died just now, so Bob is bread. And then I stopped and I said, no, wait, I'm sorry, I did it again. Bob is bread. And the third time, I laughed because it was a joke to help.
Ease the pain
Yes.
that Bob was dead after eating Bob's bread.
But the fourth time, I did say Bob's dead.
You did.
And you were not.
There was something of a panic because I remember I was in the back and people heard you say Bob's dead, and of course, getting that mixed up with saying Bob's bread and Bob's dead, they thought the Bob of Bob's bread was dead.
Mm-hmm.
However, this Bob who makes the bread was not dead. I was in the back. I heard the commotion. People started panicking and wailing. Where would we get our bread? Also, it's sad that a man died. And I had to rush out and assure them, no, Bob's not dead. Bob's right here,
Making bread.
making bread.
Um,
And then they said, oh, that's a relief. I'm glad no one died.
except then I said that, no, but my friend Bob died.
And they said, that's funny that there's, multiple people named Bob.
And then I introduced myself as Bob.
And I introduced myself as Bob, which maybe would have been unnecessary because, after all, Bob's bread is right there on the marquee.
Baked into the bread. Bob's bread.
That indented in Bob's bread is the message Bob's bread, which is my bread and butter,
Yes.
as it were. Not literal butter, because that particular loaf was vegan. However, it's just a turn of phrase.
Well, Bob's butter, the butter that Bob made, that was vegan.
Right. So
Bob's butterless butter.
Bob's butterless butter. Sometimes I use Bob's butterless butter to bake Bob's bread, and then I brand upon Bob's bread made with Bob's butterless butter
For Bob.
for Bob.
Because I would always go and buy him a loaf of the bread made with his own butter
Yeah.
for Bob. I'd always buy Bob for bread.
I
I'm
remember.
Sorry, buying bread for Bob.
It's tough. It's tough. I remember sometimes Bob would come in, and he would order a babka.
Yeah. He loved his babkas.
He loved his Bob loved his babkas, but he insisted that Bob's babkas even still be emblazoned with the brand.
Yes.
So sometimes Bob would come in, say, "Hey, Bob." I'd say, "Hey, Bob," and I'd say, "What can I get for you today, Bob?" And Bob would say, "Well, Bob, I'd like Bob's babka emblazoned on Bob's babka made with Bob's butterless butter." And I would say, "Sure." I would go to the back and get it, hand it to him, and it would just brighten his day.
Mm-hmm. You know what else brightened his day?
No. I didn't know him very well. He was just a regular customer. I tried to talk to him, but he was very bread focused, that Bob.
Mm-hmm. Well, one day he needed a special treat, and you created some Bob berry muffins for him for his birthday.
Yeah, it was a special order. It's kind of sad that he didn't have somebody else ordering for him. I mean, maybe he had people, but he just liked to order himself a birthday treat because no one else would know exactly what he wanted on that particular day. But I got the feeling that maybe there wasn't too many other people.
Well, I took him bobbing for apples.
Oh, you did?
Yes. And he said that it was a fun time, and that later he wanted to go get himself a special treat from Bob's Bread. Some Bob berry muffins from Bob's Bread using Bob's butterless butter, emblazoned with Bob berry muffins featuring Bob's butterless butter.
This must be very hard for you. You're usually a much faster talker, and I can tell that it's just a rough time. So my condolences to you.
Thank you. It was rough when I got the news that Bob died, especially the way he died.
Yeah.
The bubonic plague. It was horrible.
Bubonic plague.
It was. He had boils all over his skin. His skin turned purple. He lost a foot.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Gangrene.
Whoa. No kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
It smells. It's no good. Why didn't they clean that up before they put him in the casket? Also, why is no one guarding the casket?
Bob wanted a frugal funeral.
That he did.
He only wanted us there.
That's pretty frugal.
Yeah. So how are you feeling?
Well, a little disappointed, I must admit, for although I'm honored to grant Bob's last wishes, and he did, in the event of his will, allot money to be paid for the catering. It's just the two of us, so there wasn't much to cater. So my business did not receive much of a boon from Bob.
No Bob Boone.
No Bob Boone.
Bob's Boone.
There
didn't
is a
hit Bob's
baboon
bread.
over there, which I thought is kind of interesting.
That was his friend,
Yeah.
Bob Oon.
Bob Oon the baboon.
Mm-hmm.
Bob's baboon.
Bob's
Baboon.
baboon.
Yeah. It's pretty well behaved baboon, all things considered.
Loves balloons.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his own brand of balloons called Bob's Baboon's Balloons.
Oh God, he loved that primate so much.
He did.
Oh.
He
Hey
did.
guys, I got some bad news. We don't have a Skype computer yet, so
More bad news. Bob's dead and the Skype computer isn't on.
What else could go wrong?
I don't know.
But we're about to find out from Space City Chronicles. Catch us after the break.
No, we can't run the. We can't run the title sequence.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
Because
Well,
there's no Skype computer.
well, welcome to Space City Chronicles.
So, we have the digital effects and the characters on screen.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm a character.
The Skype computer.
He's a
Well, no,
character.
we've got the pre-written characters.
Oh, also, in addition to the characters that are down here,
Mm-hmm.
we've also got this character and that character.
Yeah, and we've got the most abrupt end to that sketch. So, like, we just immediately ditched it.
Well,
Or is it still ongoing, and if we suddenly discovered depth and personality to Bob and Bob?
I don't think so.
No, of course not.
No.
No, because it's a joke only you and I find funny.
Yeah. And that's the show in a nutshell, folks.
Yeah, it's become just what me and Ryan find funny.
It's a variety show where we feature talented artists and persons of interest from Houston and beyond on a weekly basis. And that is of no dispute.
No, if you want to dispute it, 713-807-1794, pick a time, pick a place, we'll come and fight you.
Absolutely.
If you want to come and fight on the show, the studio, I'm not going to say where the studio is located if you want to come fight, but if you do want to fight, PM us at Space City Cron. Set up, again, you want to come fight on the show, you bring your second, your third, whatever, we'll get our gang, and then we'll have, not like a fist fight.
No, probably like a balloon fight or a foam fight.
Probably a foam fight, because that's not allowed in the studio at all.
Could be a thumb fight. We've had lots of thumb fights.
Yeah.
If you followed us last week, we had the return of
Bulk.
the Thulk on
Thumbination Chamber.
Thumbination Chamber. The League of Thumb Wrestling is called.
The World Thumb Wrestling Federation. Worldwide Thumb Wrestling Federation. I think
WWTF.
WWTF.
And boy, was it a matchup.
Boy, are my arms tired.
From holding your arm out from the thumb wrestling.
Yeah.
That's very tiring.
And for propping the whole show up. Anyway, we do actually have a show this week that is more than just aimless wandering. We have a phone call, but before we go to the phone call, I want to announce that our guest this week is Anthony from the Rad Toy Collective show, and he's brought some friends! So that's awesome, but we're going to have a phone call. Caller, if you are there, you are live on the air.
I hear you want to fight, and I'm ready to fight.
You ready to fight?
Yeah, I can take you.
You can take me?
I can take both of you.
Oh, yeah?
Wait,
Yeah.
why am I included?
Because you're on the show, and I said we would fight. All
I can
right,
take the
so
mustache
caller,
guy.
you got a fight nickname?
Uh-huh.
What is it?
Arm wrestle.
Arm wrestle?
Yeah.
Your name is Arm Wrestle?
Yeah.
Is
Awesome.
that what you're going to be doing?
Both.
Both. His name is Arm Wrestle, and what he will be doing is arm wrestling.
That checks out.
It does.
I was hoping that would be the case, because like, what if Arm Wrestle's name was Arm Wrestle, but Arm Wrestle didn't want to arm wrestle? That would just be like some stuff that we would do.
Caller, your branding is
Arm
very
wrestle.
on point.
Arm wrestle.
Thank you.
Now, how's my form?
What?
They're not gonna tell you they're not gonna give you
Okay.
pointers on the forum.
Caller, what do you think of
Arm wrestle, don't call them caller.
Arm Wrestle? What do you think of Over the Top, the Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling movie?
Yes. Both. Agreed.
It is a
can't
movie,
hear what
and it
you're
does
saying.
star Sylvester Stallone. All right, Arm Wrestle. We are agreed on those points.
Yeah,
Glad to know I'm not
I'm
sick.
here to do it.
What?
Let's do it.
We're doing
right here,
it.
right now.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, Arm Wrestle has showed up in the studio. One thing that we need is a platform. All right. Arm Wrestle's ready to fight.
I've been working out.
All
It's
right.
been about a year.
All right.
I'm ready.
You two need to move more
No,
This way?
this way. No, you're not on screen at all.
no one tells arm wrestle what to do.
Well, but I'm just okay. Arm
How's that?
All right.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go! wrestle, you capitulated almost immediately.
Oh, that
Big
was quite
words.
a struggle. Arm wrestle.
I'll be back.
What?
I don't see a point. Are you gonna come back better? Like
In about 6 months.
6 months? You gonna work out?
I'm gonna work out and I'm gonna come back.
Well,
Okay.
thanks for coming, arm wrestle.
Thanks, arm wrestle.
Wow. An instant challenge gratification. You know, he did put up a good fight.
He did. It's crazy that a caller actually got on the air after calling.
Also, that we did not, that he was immediately allowed into the studio. Wow.
I don't want to cast aspersions on HMS security, which is fine. It is an excellent
It's very good.
institution. However, yeah, I think. Well, you know, if he signs in, he says he wants
I mean,
the show.
yeah.
He called. He did call the show.
He
We
did-
invited him on.
He did call. It went
So
through.
what? I really can't like. No, we're fine. Like
Yeah.
we asked for him to come on. He showed up.
Folks at home, if you want to follow in the shining example of arm wrestle and come on the show to arm wrestle, we would love
We would
to have
love
you.
to wrap this up and not have people do that. Don't come down to the studio without asking us for real.
in the future.
In the future.
Yeah.
Because that's not okay. All right, we do got to move on to our next bit, though. A game that I enjoyed the one time we played it, and we never played it again. What's that smell?
Oh, I have something for
What's
this.
that smell? Yeah. What's that smell? Woo. What's that smell? What's that smell? What's that smell? What's that smell?
Alright, that's it.
That's enough. Ryan, that's enough. Ryan, that's enough. Like, when I say that's enough melodica, is definitely enough melodica.
Is it?
Yes.
All right.
I was not making a joke.
No. Understood.
Alright, well, I'm guessing the smells, so...
Now, arm wrestle, if you're still around, we do
They're
invite
not.
you
No,
back to
Arm
play
Wrestle's not around still.
What's That Smell with us.
Arm Wrestle left in defeat, humiliating defeat. And now what we're going to do is play What's That Smell? Sans Arm Wrestle.
Ah, really? Because I thought we were playing a game called No Butt.
No, but we're not doing that.
Okay. I'll put the melodica away. Now,
You do have to say melodica away every time you take your melodica away.
melodica, away!
Well, it's already away.
Yeah, I'm just saying what it'll be. Moving on,
Mm-hmm.
here's how the game is played.
Moving on.
We have one or more contestants. They honorably close their eyes. We do not use such shenanigans as blindfolds. We simply trust that the participants can, in fact, keep their eyes shut while they are smelling. They are free to hear and in some cases feel, but that is context sensitive. The most important part is not seeing, but mostly smelling. And the way it will work is we will pass the object under the participant's nose, and they will have an opportunity to guess what is that smell that they're smelling.
Well, do you want to pull in this week's guest to see if they want to play
Absolutely,
along?
I do.
All right, I'll go fetch the guests. You go fetch the smells.
Will do.
What?
John, away! So, we have a few interesting items on the docket, and I can't wait to see how the participants react.
All right. So,
All right, contestants, take the stage.
All right. Well, first of all, welcome Anthony and from Rad Toy Collective, and Jeanette and Scott from Scary Dad. We've got this is their. Anthony, you've been on the show before, but
have.
you brought some friends. And before we play What's That Smell, if you would like to both introduce yourselves to our lovely audience.
Sure. I'm Scott Fontenot of the Scary Dad podcast, and glad to be here today. Excited.
Awesome.
Pumped.
I am Janet, known as Matt Quinn. Glad to be here, guys. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for What's That Smell. Ryan, what are those smells?
Who wouldn't be excited?
All right.
What's that smell?
So the first object will be handheld. The audience at home will be able to see the object. All participants will close their eyes as I pass under their noses with the object, they will get 3 big inhales and 2 small inhales to figure out what it is. We'll go by everyone. Then we'll take the guesses. If nobody can guess correctly, they'll get another big smell and another little smell, and then we'll go back over. So, them's the rules. Let's get playing. What's that smell? Contestants, close your eyes, please.
It's like a trust test.
It is, very much so. Most of our show is, in fact, a trust test.
This first item, I will give you a little bit of a hint. It is multiple items in a batch.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple items in a batch.
Multiple items in the batch.
Okay.
Are we allowed to ask questions before we smell?
I'm guessing
Yes, why not?
I'm guessing it's not Sauvignon Blanc.
No.
That would be correct. If you correctly guess the item before we even start. By the way, you can open your eyes during the guessing round.
Oh, right on.
I'm holding it behind me in this chair. I trust none of you can see it.
No, I can't see.
Okay. Would you care to take a guess?
A guest?
And would you care to take a guess?
Chocolate.
Not chocolate.
Darn.
Good guess, though. There are multiple pieces of chocolate in one unit. And have you taken a guess?
Crunch berries. Oops, all berries.
Oops, all berries. Ooh, that is a nostalgic throwback that is unfortunately incorrect.
Also, where would the chocolate be?
Chocolate and oops berries. I'm going to have to try that when I get home. All right, and John, finally, your guess.
I'm going to say there's multiple chocolates in a bunch. It's not Sauvignon Blanc. It's edible. I'm assuming because of the chocolate.
You can assume whatever you want.
I know I can. It's my show.
Great.
Is it brownies?
It is not brownies.
All right. Well, I guess it's time to smell.
All right, close your eyes.
Smell.
Audience, take a gander. You will not really be able to see because it's very small. Maybe if I get a little closer, you can see.
Here we are.
And let's take a first whiff. Contestant number 1. It is near your nose. Don't move. What are you detecting?
Nothing.
Oh, let's take another one. Different angle. One more.
It smells like dirt.
Okay.
All right.
Would you care to take a guess? Or would you care to take 2 more big inhales?
I will take a guess.
All right. What is your guess?
I will have to say dirt. It smells like dirt.
Yeah.
Smells like dirt. Okay, good
Yep.
guess. Incorrect, but I think chemically speaking, you're moving in the right direction.
Chemically
Great.
speaking.
Chemically speaking, you're moving in the right direction. All right, contestant number 2.
bizarre.
Let me prepare the scent. Go ahead and whiff away. Don't move your mouth. You're going to kiss it.
Oh, God.
Whoa. All right. It's
Something I'm used to
kissable.
hearing.
Not necessarily.
Smells like rusty metal.
Rusty metal. Interesting guess.
Is it a Brillo pad?
It is not a Brillo pad, but that is a surprisingly close guess. Let's move on. Contestant number 3.
I can see where you'd get. I'd almost think it was steel wool. It smells.
Steel wool.
Smells metal.
Smells metal. Okay, so we have rusty metal and metal over here. Is that your final guess?
It's steel wool. I'll go.
Steel wool. Rusty metal, steel wool. Okay. Contestant number 4.
I'm sleeping. All right. Where is it?
Right there.
Right, where, I can't see. What
Exactly.
there
You
is.
can just inhale and you'll get it.
I need another inhale.
You can take at least 4 more.
Where is it?
It's right here. Here's a hint. You might get poked if you move your nose too much.
I'm not smelling anything at all.
Okay. Would you care to use the other contestants' guesses and build your own?
Okay, so all I know is that they're chocolate punches, it's metal. Is it a bag of Hershey's Kisses?
It is not a bag of Hershey's Kisses. Okay, contestants number 2 and 3. You both guessed metals. 1. Contestant number 2, you guessed rusty metal. Contestant number 3, you guessed steel wool. Now, contestant number 2, could you clarify your guess? Can you specify the kind of metal since he said steel?
I'm gonna say aluminium.
Aluminium. Okay. Contestants, open your eyes and go get yourself some tetanus shots. It is rusty metal, but it is not aluminium. It is bronze, nickel, and steel.
Some strip wire.
So your first guess was accurate, but when you clarified, you got further away. Contestant number 3, there is steel in here, but it's not all steel. So I'm afraid everyone lost this round.
Alright, well, where did the chocolate come in?
The chocolate came in when people were speculating about what it might be before they even smelled it.
Oh, well, I wasn't looking, so I wasn't paying attention.
Thank you, contestant number 4.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the next round. This is the easier round.
Should we close our eyes?
You feel free to close your eyes. This round, I will give you a hint. And the hint is you should listen. Okay, as I
The
prepare.
hint is we should listen.
Yes,
But the game is what's
listen.
that smell?
Well, listen, and
Listen to the smell.
what you hear will give you an idea as to what the category of smell might be.
Okay.
But the smell won't do that.
The smell won't do that. All right, listen closely, contestants. That's me showing the audience at home what it is. And here it goes. Did you hear that, contestants?
Yes.
Here's another sound for you.
Okay.
Oh god.
That sounds moist.
Yeah, I'm immediately concerned.
It's an excellent descriptor.
Yeah, well, it is and it isn't. Like it helps put a lot of a word on a feeling I had, but it also doesn't leave me encouraged.
Okay,
Oh, God.
contestant number 1.
Lotion. Hand lotion.
Hand lotion. Okay, contestant number 2.
That is soap.
Soap. Contestant number 3.
So,
Contestant number 4. Wait.
it smells like cocoa.
And contestant number 4.
I can't smell that anymore because I think it's deodorant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. My nose ain't great with deodorant. So if that is, even if that is not deodorant, no.
Okay. So your guess is deodorant.
Yes.
Okay. Contestant number 3, right on the money. You can open your eyes. You can see on my hands it is soap, and here is the bottle. It is cocoa butter moisturizing hand wash soap.
Freshly squeezed.
So it was exactly cocoa butter soap. And contestant number 3, you win a handshake.
Oh.
I need moisturizing anyway.
There we go. Oh,
Everything works out. That's my prize.
now this prize will be available to all contestants as a gesture of goodwill in the bathroom, so that you can dry your hands and wash off the hand soap when you're done. You can do that right now if you don't want a soapy hand for the rest of the show.
I'm good.
And that's where I'm going. And that's how you play. What's that smell?
That's how you play. What's that smell? What's that smell? What's that smell?
Hey!
I just made this song up a minute ago. What's that smell? Yay! Alright, that hurts. Yeah, well, Space City Chronicles is public access something revival. I don't know. It's like if the show I always wanted to start a cult. And I tried to start a cult on the show, both
Like
to-
an in the world cult or multiple wife cult?
in the world. I wouldn't want multiple wives.
Okay.
I'm not a huge family person, so not very family oriented. Having more than one wife would be like multiple families, and then it's like the power dynamic in that makes me uncomfortable. It's like I don't want to own anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
But I want to start a cult so I can get adulation and tax breaks. It was a half-baked scheme to actually turn the show into a non-profit by turning it into a religion so we didn't have to pay taxes. And it's not illegal to do that.
You should make an action figure of yourself and associate it with a cartoon with loud noises. That'll get the ball rolling for you.
There you go. Actually, no one's ever given me a concrete plan of action that made that much sense to me before, but there's a lot of marketing sense to that. That's like a niche audience already.
You're building your brand.
Building a brand, and that's specific to like a kind of representation that I want.
A deity.
A deity that is easily purchasable and attainable. You can pose it anywhere, and I could release variations on the deity that are like rare runs or defects, and toy collectors would eat that stuff up.
Yes, they would.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is if you wanted to extend it a little further, you could make it a specific genre, so you get two different fandoms chasing after your product, not just like so if you were like a musically oriented show, then you would have the music buffs as well as the toy buffs. There's multiple angles you could approach it with.
Cults need music, so that's
Agree.
a good idea. Cults need music. Cults need buffs.
Yeah.
Who are buffs to protect them against the government.
Buffs.
Buff.
Buff Bagwell.
Buff Bagwell. Buffy Bags. Well, anyway, we've segued into the interview portion of this week's episode. Anthony, first of all, I want to thank you for coming back on.
Certainly.
We enjoyed your guest appearance last time. You were one of our thumb wrestlers, and we were talking about this before the show. Unfortunately, you missed out on last week's Thumbination Chamber
Yeah.
due to injury.
Yeah. I have been training,
Yeah.
right? I've been breaking apples.
Oh God.
Yeah, and doing push-ups just like this, and
He does them at work during breaks.
yeah, no, it's
Oh.
it's
Yeah. You should have seen him back there. He was just.
Yeah. See, Ryan
Injured.
broke
Down.
Oh.
Ryan's out for 6 to 8 weeks now from the show. Thank you, Ryan.
Oh.
it's all about the technique. And then I have a masseuse that comes and massages that portion of my hand at least twice a day.
Wow, that's a
Yeah.
lot of service.
Yeah, she's Swedish.
Oh.
It's great.
You have a Swedish masseuse come in and give you. Is it a Swedish massage as well?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that her interpretation of a Swedish massage involves like her mimicking the Swedish chef from the Muppets, so it's loud.
Whoa!
Yeah.
So you deal with it. So you have a Swedish chef mocking Swedish masseuse, doing a Swedish massage twice a day.
And how long does each massage take?
It depends on, if I ask any questions. If I just kind of, let her do her thing, then she, screw it, and then she's out the door. But if I say anything, then I have, like long, exaggerated explanations followed by her throwing food up in the air and hitting me in the head with it.
Oh.
Do you ever like interpret what she's saying as like meaning to talk to you, or do you just sort of respond to what you think? Like, are you aware that you're being talked to at certain times versus other times?
Well, I think the thing is that I'm terrible with the female of the species, and I don't normally know what they're saying anyway.
Gotcha.
That's
So
true.
this is
Okay.
just like
Confirmation.
Yes.
Okay.
Right here.
yeah. So I just smile and
Yeah,
nod.
sure.
Yeah.
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 Now, does she specialize in massaging the hand?
That's all I've ever experienced. I think she has a website I can supply.
Well, we can't give her any business
No.
on the public access. This is a non-commercial station for non-commercial content. But I guess that's just another potential guest we could have on. But let's move on to some fresher faces. Sitting to your left, we have Jeanette, and I'm led to believe you go by another name. What was that other name you go by?
I go by Mad Quinn.
Okay, Mad Quinn. And where did the name Mad Quinn come from?
It came from my passion for Harley Quinn.
Oh, okay.
I'm a big Harley Quinn fan, as you can tell.
I could tell.
Clearly, right?
When I first saw you, I was like, oh, it's a Harley Quinn
Obvious.
dress.
Yeah.
Do you dress as Harley Quinn?
I do. I cosplay as her.
Oh, excuse me. I don't know that you cosplay. It's
Oh,
not
I'm sorry.
dressing. I'm sorry.
Yes,
Get it right.
Ah!
Correction.
And that's recorded forever. I made
I
that
know.
mistake on TV. Anyway,
Yes,
I'm sorry.
yes. I love to cosplay as Harley Quinn. I've always been a fan of hers since Batman the Animated Series aired. I was telling my partner here that ever since I was a little girl, I would literally come home running and I would get my coloring book and my box of crayons and I'd sit right in front of the TV and boom, I'd watch Batman. And hence, Harley Quinn appeared and, it's
What is it about Harley Quinn that appealed to you directly?
I would have to say her misunderstanding. When people hear Harley, they think, oh, she's a crazy psycho, she's obsessed with the Joker, but I see her as something else, I mean, she truly does love him, and she would do anything, die for him, and I think deep down inside, she's a real sweetheart. So that's where my fascination came, and ever since then, I love to cosplay as her. I mean, you name it. I collect her stuff. I like to dress as her in cons. Yeah.
What's your favorite version of Harley Quinn to cosplay as?
Oh gosh, that would. I know Suicide Squad is a big deal. Don't get me wrong. I like it.
Okay.
But the original Harley.
I mean, the red and the black here is classic.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, come
classic.
on.
Classic.
If not, I would have dressed up as, booty shorts and my Suicide Squad shirt.
It's an option. I mean,
Well,
I'm not gonna tell you no.
Yeah.
It's your thing, not mine.
But I chose the dress.
Awesome. Well, how did you and Anthony link up for the show?
Actually, it was through a friend.
Okay.
He introduced me to Anthony, and we met, and me and him started to work together. So here we are.
Well, I mean, not for nothing, right?
Yeah.
The Rad Toy Collective show is, a project of passion for myself and, my buddies. A lot of, we like to be more inclusive. And so we've reached out, we were looking for a way to reach out to the cosplay community so we can get, some, being a positive influence in fandom is very important to the project, and, something we have riding down the pipe is actually an anti-bullying thing. And we're
big time.
Yeah, big. I mean,
Big time.
all jokes aside, there's a lot of the people that kind of into look the way we do and get into what we do at a young age don't have anybody to umbrella over them and teach them hey, you don't have to worry about being somebody else's cool, be your cool, and that's it, and that you're gonna have a much happier life than that. And Janet is, we're both parents, she's a great person to have, teaching little girls, you can do this without,
Exactly.
you can have appeal without showing too much. You can, cosplay without having to worry about somebody, being inappropriate with you. Have fun doing it and do the way you want to, not somebody else.
I think
Yes.
nerddom, if I have a big critique of it, is that it needs to be better about creating more space for everybody, especially with women. I think there's there I don't even have to tell you probably, but there's just a lot of wrong-headed ideas among nerds about women's place in the scene. It's you don't have to question all of if they come dressed as a character, you don't have to immediately start questioning them about every little thing they know about the character.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you ever run into that at cons?
I do.
And how do you deal with that?
Well, first of all, open-minded. I don't get aggressive. But I simply try to explain myself. Hey, this is how it is, and sometimes I do have to tell them to keep their comments to themselves because they can't get aggressive to the point where they're actually following me. Yes, that has happened.
I am not surprised.
Yeah,
That
that's surprised
has
at all.
happened. So, but I keep it professional.
Okay.
So
I mean, because you're there to do what you want to do. You're at the
Exactly.
cons are fun.
you're there to have fun and
Yeah.
express yourself.
Yeah.
So
And everyone should be allowed to enjoy themselves.
Yes.
That's what always good. Let
Yes.
people like things and be happy.
Absolutely. The whole point of being a nerd is you are hopelessly in love with this thing. And you go to a con so you can be around other fans and you can be in a safe space where you can just be open about what you
Yes.
love.
Right.
yes.
Just be yourself.
Exactly. All right. Well, chiming in here with some great comments is Scott from Scary Dad, and
Yeah. Well,
your podcast Scary Dad is it about first of all, are you a scary dad?
I'm one of the two scary dads, actually.
Oh, the two scary dads.
Hey, John.
What's up?
Sorry, I hate to interrupt. Could I get Ryan to come to the control room, please?
Sure.
Thanks. Sorry, I just need an extra hand.
That's fine.
Ryan, Away!
Right away. All right, Scary Dad. You're one of the two Scary
Yeah,
Dads.
my co-host, his name is Billy Stewart. He couldn't make it tonight.
Oh,
We
well.
had a big night Saturday night, and he just couldn't make it to the house tonight.
Okay.
There was a podcast event at House of Blues that we were involved in.
Oh,
so
nice.
It was pretty cool. I don't know if you're familiar with the No Sleep podcast, which is one of the largest horror podcasts in the country. They were there performing, and also Sarventicide, which is another local horror podcast. They were there performing also.
All right.
So.
Well, I'm not admittedly not a huge follower of horror podcasts, but I know it's that and like true crime and murder serial killer podcasts are like really exploding right now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Everyone's like really into gruesome, grimy stuff.
Right. Well, the No Sleep podcast is derived from No Sleep subreddit.
Okay.
Which No Sleep subreddit people submit short stories, and they're great short stories. And what the podcast does is they have a group of voice actors that reenact the stories.
Oh man.
And it's pretty impressive.
That sounds impressive. Well, what do y'all do?
What we do is me and Billy. Our podcast is mainly focused on the horror genre, but we talk about everything. We're both comic book and toy nerds from the '80s.
Nice.
So we talk about toys, we talk about movies, but primarily we're about horror stuff. Everything from cryptozoology to different movies.
I love cryptozoology. Oh
our
man.
Sea Monster episode actually came out today.
Oh yeah, I love sea monsters. I love dinosaurs that might still be living in
Exactly.
the rainforest. I love because the funny thing, like not everything in cryptozoology turns out to be real, but gorillas started as a cryptozoological animal because the scientists who went into Africa just refused to believe the natives,
Right.
the indigenous peoples of Africa, and saying, "Oh, there's no way such a creature could exist." There were tons of them.
Right.
And,
Right.
and it was just that the Western explorers were too arrogant to believe the natives. And a lot of cryptozoology touches on like a lot of interesting folklore,
Yeah.
which is one of the things I really love about it. It's like, does this thing exist? Probably not. But the stories behind it are great.
Well, and the way our podcast works is we don't try to debunk. We just talk about it and discuss.
Yeah.
You know, if people want to believe in it, that's fine. You know,
Of course.
And to be honest with you, I guess, from when I was young, I want to believe in everything. You know, I grew up with Weekly World News at my grandmother's house was like the hugest thing for us to check out.
Oh my god.
And,
Are we Weekly World News? Do we know Weekly World News?
Yes.
we actually had a
That
Weekly
boy
World News
lives.
episode
Oh, yeah.
that came out.
That boy!
We had a Weekly World episode in January that came out, just about the Weekly World News and our memories from it from growing up. But you know, you used to see Bigfoot on the cover of Weekly World News as a kid. And I want to still believe that he exists. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Weekly World News was like, they eventually got to the point where they had to advertise, yeah, this is all made up. But when I
you're
was a kid,
it's printed
Yeah.
there.
and
You
you
read
see,
it.
like, Bat Boy found in Afghanistan. What? And then that whole arc of Bat Boy getting found in a cave in Afghanistan, becoming like a senator at some point.
Yeah, he was involved. I think he was in the cabinet with the Clintons also.
Yeah, like he found his way. He flew his way into government, which, like, see, that's people get really snotty about their culture, and it's like they're quick to dismiss a Weekly World News just because it's sold with tabloids next to the register as an impulse buy. But I feel like that was some of the best comedy of my growing up years.
Oh yeah.
Like Weekly World News was like the Onion before the
Exactly.
Onion.
That's one of the things we talk about on the podcast. That's exactly what it was. It was the Onion, the Onion spawned from Weekly World News.
Yeah,
That's
it
where
had to.
comes
It's like biting satire of like really nasty tabloid magazines, and it does it in such a way that's like, okay, that I can't tell that this is. I can't say for sure that this is fake. I'm sure it is, but I couldn't. It was like all black and white.
Right.
Oh man,
There were pictures. You know, they had pictures there. You could
That
look
was
at.
the thing, and they had. This was before we were all jaded by Photoshop.
Right. Right.
But damn, oh man, Weekly World News.
But yeah, so we've been doing our podcast a little bit over a year now. I think we're at we're a weekly podcast. We're gonna be found on iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher Radio, and ScaryDad.com. And we also last year our podcast actually grew into a local horror convention that we did. We did it real small. We kind of wanted to start building a brand so that we wanted to get a vendor base.
Mm-hmm.
So we kept it small on the west side of Houston, and it was definitely a successful event. So we'll be
Right.
doing another one this September.
What is that HorrorCon called?
The Scary Dad Haunted Halloween Show.
Scary. Keep us abreast of that.
Oh,
'cause
definitely will,
We'll definitely
definitely.
want to come
There'll be,
check it out and film there.
Our show actually did coverage of the convention,
Right. Oh, yeah?
and there'll be a video of the entire first convention for you to see everything you missed.
So we're not. If you couldn't make it, you're not even missing out. And then of course you've got an opportunity coming up in September to check it out.
Yep.
Local horror cons. Definitely a ton of fun. Like, those people who are going to show up for a local horror con are ready to have a good time.
And the one that we just did is the literary community in Houston for horror is huge.
Of
and
course.
that was actually the most successful part of our convention were the authors.
Oh,
And,
yeah. We have a friend, John Wayne Kamunale. I don't know if you know John Wayne.
name's familiar.
John Wayne Kamunale, he's big in the bizarro genre.
Okay.
And yeah, right, right, yeah. But he wrote a book called Ant Poster, which is about a man who falls in love and marries his pinup poster. And throughout the book, it's unclear whether or not the poster is actually alive or not.
Oh, cool.
But his nephew has an affair with the poster.
What?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's that. I can't like the book goes in a direction I can't explain.
Well, yeah.
But I'm sure he would love. He would totally dig what y'all do.
Okay.
I'll hook y'all up.
I'd love to be back on the show. We'll definitely talk about it some
for
more
sure.
Because what we're going to do is we want to actually get some, not huge celebrity guests, but I'm looking at some of the 80s screen queens like Debbie Rochon and maybe
Okay.
Cassandra Peterson, Elvira, if I can get her down.
Ooh.
And a few other folks just to. I'm going to try to find people that have books out because I want to build off of that literary aspect.
Oh yeah, hell yeah! I love that. All right, well, one thing that I was really excited about when you guys came on was that we have actual toys to talk about, and I feel we would be remiss. We brought three people who are into toys, and we didn't have them bring on toys and talk about toys.
And we got the toys coming.
And we got
Yeah,
the
they're on their
cool, we got the Rad Toy Collector logo with our show pugs. So you've got that screenshot.
Pugs.
Pugs.
My neighbor had a pug that used to get out and come meet me for coffee every morning. It was so
Aw.
nice. Sweetest little dog.
That-
I just come and sit right next to him.
All right, coffee with the pugs. All right, cool. So I guess let's take a look. I'll just shut my mouth because I don't know nothing about toys.
Well, what's interesting about these right here is, the people that really dug action figures back in the day, they're old now. So the action figures that are coming out now, a lot of them, they're collectible figures.
Whoa.
For example, the three boxes you see up here, those are all rated for 17 and over.
So
These toys are for adults.
Now this, on the other hand,
that's a kid's toy.
this is an old Ghostbusters paddy wagon from the
From the
cartoon.
animated series.
So what were you supposed to do? How you were supposed to catch ghosts with tennis rackets?
Yes, that is correct.
Did you ever see a Ninja Turtles toy, bro? They would take a
Yeah.
trash can lid and put a pizza on it and throw it at people as a weapon.
They would. You could. One of the toys was like one of the turtles turned into a van. I remember. I had that one. I lost that one in Galveston. Is this one? What's his name? Todd McFarlane.
That's the McFarlane movie Maniacs. Yeah.
There we go. See, I know something
That's
about
a little
toys. Very good. This
Display
is
stand
from The
that goes
Crow.
with it. Yep.
Which is a movie I think I might go home and watch later.
Love that
I don't know.
movie. Excellent
Yes,
movie.
great movie.
If you've never read the comic books, I highly recommend that.
I need to read the comic books. Janet, are you into toys?
Yes, I am.
What kinds of toys are
Oh,
up your speed?
Batman toys.
Oh, duh.
Duh. Yeah, Batman toys, Harley Quinn toys. I'm into Dragon Ball. I collect a whole bunch of Dragon Ball action figures. Fallout. I'm a big Fallout girl. Fallout 3 especially. That's my favorite. Pit Boys, you name it. So.
All right. Well, what are some of the pieces we have here?
Well, I'm going to talk about this one first. This is actually an on-card Mossman 1984. Actually.
Mossman.
Yeah, Mossman was a
Remake.
Masters of the Universe character.
Okay.
A lot of people have given him grody nicknames. I had a cousin who used to call him Booger Man. I mean, because what they did was there was another character named Beastman, and they used the molds from that character, added to it, and sold double of the same molds.
And put some fur on it as well.
Yeah.
And then just introduce that character into the show.
Right, as a hero versus the villain that the other one was, so it made sense. I mean, but the thing is, though, even though that's what it was, as a kid, you wanted this because it was amazing looking. I'm going to give that to you also. I mean, just
in exchange, the Crow.
Texturally, it was just really cool.
Yeah.
Now, that was what they were doing that was amazing in the old days, in the 80s, the golden age of mass production, so to speak. This is the opposite end of the spectrum. These are new, hyper-articulated, and...
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. The Masters of the Universe had the greatest side characters. I want to start with Fisto, heroic hand-to-hand fighter. Fisto, not an appropriate name for a child's toy. But my personal favorite on the good side is Buzz Off. It was a bee.
They had pirate nicknames for sure.
And then, of course, Stinkor, evil master of odor.
That's right. Well, if you've ever watched the show, The Toys That Made Us, a lot of these names came up in the bar after they get off work. They'd sit around coming up with names for different things.
Yeah.
That's just where some of these crazy names came from.
Well, because like He-Man was so popular that like they had to just keep producing stuff like
More,
more.
Yeah.
And then back then like there wasn't the internet. People weren't like super ironic, hypercritical consumers. They just wanted all of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it was, various knockoffs and what have you. And they even took He-Man into space and made a ridiculous cartoon that had some pretty cool looking toys. But if the toy was cool, usually they would do well,
Oh, yeah.
And then we were actually, we don't have any Ninja Turtle stuff out here, but we were hunting when the Ninja Turtles got popular. There was an offshoot. It became a genre of just Ninja Turtle ripoffs. One of them was like Kung Fu Kangaroos. One of them was hyperactive cartoon squirrels, or like things like that, And then the popular ones like Biker Mice from Mars and Street Sharks, And there was, and there was a lot of, they said, okay, we're gonna take something goofy that has martial art capabilities and make it cool, and that just became a thing, They need to make toys,
Let me see the Nightmare on Elm Street one. This company right here, Nika, they make these insane collectible figures. Now, you might recognize this. This is from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2.
Uh-huh.
They had the little dogs with the people's faces and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
This was an insane toy.
And is this from? When was this made?
This was made recently. Probably, let's see, this one should have been 2015.
So it already comes to you as kind of a nostalgia item anyway.
Yeah.
So the toy factor, like it's a toy that is meant to be sort of like just like a niche market. It wasn't like, it's not like from the time.
Right.
Well, no.
Right.
Okay.
Well, the thing is that like a lot of people, you romanticize your old toys, right? Especially with like Transformers and stuff.
Yeah.
You buy the old Transformers and you had one that you missed as a kid or something. And you go and you spend, you go and you find it, and then you hold it in your hand and you're like, I don't remember it looking like this brick. So they make these hyper articulated toys for the adult collector that looks a little bit more like you remember it looking.
That is smart. Like to capitalize on the nostalgia and the problems of just like, well, there's all these problems. Like nothing is ever as good as you remember it being as a kid.
Right.
These are.
And those you can buy it.
Like I said,
buy a
these
nice
are
number
rated
that never
17
existed.
and over. These are not for kids.
Oh no, I wouldn't.
These are collector's toys.
Like the whole package, like the fact that there's a fold out of a package, like no child would put up with that.
Wouldn't stay in a box very long anyway.
I mean, how does everyone feel about box versus out of box?
Oh, I keep mine in the box.
Okay.
I never ever take out a toy from the
Do you
box.
feel that's linked to some way to like someone's personality? Like, is it a defining feature of the toy collecting community?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Why do you keep yours in a box?
Because I feel that if I were to take it out of the box, it's no longer a collector's item. That's just me personally speaking for my collection, and I have an OCD, so I like to keep them, nice and neat and untouchable.
How do you display them?
Oh, well, category. If it's all Batman, all Dragon Ball,
And do you have them like just on a shelf or?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I plan on, and I say this proudly, when I have my own man cave, bat cave, I will have all of my collection and everything is going to be just perfect. All my posters and oh my god, it's going to look awesome.
Your Queen Cave.
Exactly. Yes.
Call it a Queen Cave.
Yes, sir.
All right. I mean, you call it whatever.
It's a good
I
name.
like that name.
It's your
Queen
cave.
I like that
All
name.
right, cool. How do you feel about this, Anthony?
I will pick up a plastic airplane and make noises all day. I love taking things out of the box. Like, for me, like, the thing is that I have a son, right? And not that, I wouldn't have a great time if I had a daughter, but me and my son are like the same silly kid,
Good.
And it's like we can have a good time, like me and my cousins used to when we were little, and like I'm blessed with that I have that extension of my own childhood to be able to do that with, I do have the feeling that I would, even if I didn't have a kid, I would still be doing it. But at least, it's like with this, it's like, I get to really enjoy it, Like before I was a parent, I didn't, my collection, I stopped buying. I had the stuff that I had when I was a kid, but I hadn't bought a new toy in quite some time. It was when he was born and he started growing up, I started buying stuff because I was like, he's got to see this, he's got to see that, like Dino Riders. I was like, those are dinosaurs with armor on them. He's got to see it, he'll love it,
Yeah,
So don't get me wrong. I got a couple things that I won't take out of the box, because of whatever reason. Sometimes it's because I've never seen it before and I just don't want to ruin it. But there's some stuff like, and people hate me for this, but all the vintage stuff out of the box. As soon as I get it.
Vintage you take out.
Absolutely.
Just for the feel of it.
Because especially there's some toys I'll buy just because it was I had a cousin that had them when I was a kid, and I never got to play with it, and I that is my number one motivation for buying some of this stuff. Is my cousin. I don't know if he's watching, Andrew. Yes. Yeah,
Well, he might be watching, and he might be our phone call. We do have a caller. Caller, you're on the air.
All right, hi. I'd like to speak to Scott from the Scary Dad podcast.
All right, well, Scott's here. Go ahead.
Hi, sir. I love the podcast. You are a very good-looking man, so I was just wondering, do you by any chance have a son?
Matter of fact, I do. He sounds a lot like you, as a matter of fact.
Really?
Ladies and gentlemen, my son Noah is on the phone right now with us.
Hi,
Hi, I got someone to cover my shift, and I'm tuning into the show, and y'all are doing great. But I just want to ask, so everybody has there's the Harley Quinn, there's the Bizarro, but what is this Freddy Krueger about? That stands out so much to me.
Dude, it's a horror podcast that I do. Come on. Think about it.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Noah, do you have anything in particular against Freddy Krueger?
I'm sorry?
Do you have something against Freddy Krueger? Is that like an in-joke I didn't get?
Oh, it just kind of stands out to me. I don't remember seeing any Freddy Krueger comics. I've seen...
There are Freddy Krueger comics, partner. I got some at home.
You're having a nerd fight with your dad.
There's a
on
whole
TV.
series called Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
That
I have
is
all
true.
of them at home.
That is true. I agree with that because I love Ash. We all love Ash.
Oh,
yeah, you have to. You have
Hail
to.
to the king, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
like
Oh
always
my
just
God.
getting into trouble. Ash, why'd you go back to the cabin? Ash! Why'd you read from the book, Ash? Ash! Why'd you cut off your hand with it and then turn it into a chainsaw? Because it was awesome. That was why.
And
But
also,
his hand was possessed.
His hand was
Yes.
possessed.
watching also. And she loves Dragon Ball, as Harley Quinn mentioned, so she wants to know your top 5 favorite characters.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
My daughter's a huge Dragon Ball Z fan.
Oh my God, Goku, Vegeta. I can't. No, those are my main two. Those are
Yeah, there's a lot.
those are my main two. I'm sorry.
Goku and Vegeta, very good like it's a good, character foil.
Yes.
That's probably one
Broly. I like Broly too.
of Broly.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Broly,
Yes.
the legendary Super Saiyan.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Well, I was calling. I'm loving the show, and I just want to say what's up to everybody.
All right.
Well,
We appreciate it, Noah.
Thank you.
Get
Yeah,
back to
thanks.
work.
Hey Noah, thanks for calling. You had an awesome call.
Hey, no problem at all, y'all.
Woo!
Bye.
Man, I'm loving the vibes.
Yeah, me
By
too.
the way, I'm putting together Vegeta cosplay for my daughter right now. Yeah.
Ooh. If I may ask, how tall is your daughter?
She's in middle school.
She's in middle school. Okay, so I'm thinking like little mini Vegeta, but we'll just get middle school size Vegeta.
Yes.
Okay, Super
What was
Saiyan or no?
Yeah, Super
Awesome.
Saiyan.
Okay,
You're
cool.
gonna have to show me.
Now she was Naruto at the opening of Japan House the other day
Oh,
over in
wow.
Derry Ashford, and she met a little 3-year-old Naruto that she posed with. It was the cutest
Oh,
picture you've ever
that's
seen.
Hey, if you love adorable Naruto, 713-807-1794. Come talk. Well, I guess if you want to talk about cosplay, I can't see what that is. Like a 1 minute left in the show.
1 minute and 30 seconds to be precise.
So left in the show.
Indeed so.
Wow.
Let's wrap things
Well,
up.
I want to thank
flies.
Janet, Steve,
Scott.
Scott.
S.
I'm a professional. Scott and Anthony from Rad Toy Collector and Scary Dads. I would not like to thank Ryan.
That's fine.
I'd like to thank Ryan.
Ryan
for mustache.
away! But anyway, thank you everyone for coming on. We're going to close out with some melodica. Check out the Rad Toy Collector
Hunter
show.
and Zap.
Check out
I'm totally gonna sing. Go ahead.
iTunes, right? Dead Dad, Scary
Scary
Dads.
Dad, yeah. Scary Dad podcast.
Scary Dad podcast on iTunes to talk. I'm gonna go listen to the Sea Monster episode for sure.
Oh, I was an Irish sailor on the high seas, and then came a mermaid. She gave me vodka gratefully. Unfortunately for me, the high seas, they were not tame. I puked my guts all over the ship, and the mermaid was to blame.
Is that it? Are we done?
15 seconds.
Oh, that would have been perfect.
Yahtzee!
Yahtzee!
We're out.
Well, thank y'all. That was good. That was fun.
Yeah,
That
that was a lot of fun.
was the most fun interview I've done in a while.
I appreciate you letting us come on.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you
hell
so
yeah.
much.
Thanks for coming on.
Sure.
Um,
Thank you for
I
having
am like really excited to talk about sea
Cool.
monsters. I love sea monsters.